St. Martin is always a beautiful island to visit with its wonderful beaches, crystal clear water, boats, boating, water sports, shopping, scenery, delicious food. But in November, you also get to see the wonderful entertainers Cliff and Susan.
Rolling, rolling, rolling on the river. I said rolling, rolling, rolling on the river.
Welcome to Stage, Screen, and In Between with Helen. Today I'm coming to you from beautiful St. Martin, and I have very special guests for you. I have Cliff and Susan. They are a married international entertainment duo. They play the fiddle, guitar, and the keys, the piano, and they play to an all-request audience all over the world. How are you doing?
Wonderful.
Susan, it's so good to see you.
It's good to see you. I think we've known each other for at least 7 years, I feel like.
Yes,
so
yes.
It's good to be back, and it's been a wonderful month here on the island.
And good to see you too, Cliff.
Yeah, you too. And I guess it would be 7 years for me since I've been coming for 7 years this year.
Yeah. Well, I first met Susan before they were married.
So it would've been 8 years.
Yeah, you had your own career, and you had your own career, and then they met, and it was a match made in heaven.
It was.
So, Susan, tell everybody how you started.
Sure. Well, I started 20 years ago now. I actually have a degree in mathematics and went to school thinking I was going to be a doctor, or I was actually an engineer in corporate world when I discovered piano bars in 2003. And so that's been a 20-year journey of music. I eventually left the corporate world and chased my passion, and I met Cliff on stage at the same club where I started in Little Rock, Arkansas. But we met in 2016 on that stage, and it was musical. It was musical. What love at first sight, musical at first sight, music at first sight, and then love happened, and we had eloped a year later in Vegas. So yeah, it's good. So a long time of just learning lots of music. The piano bar is a very interactive, very fun venue, and I was just addicted to the concept of having fun around a piano, and that's what you see here on the island.
Yeah. And now, Cliff, what were you doing at the time when you met?
So at the time, I was actually working as a pharmacy tech at a drugstore where I lived. And so I was doing that for a while, still doing music on the side. But like she said, we met at Willie D's. I had played there on and off as just kind of whatever they needed me on, drums, fiddle, or guitar. I would come in and play on what they call their changeovers. So we just happened to be at rehearsal. We met at rehearsal and played the first time together that next night on I think it was a Friday night.
Isn't that something? So now you were here for a month stay in St. Martin. You come every year, right, in November. So you also go other places. Where else do you stay?
Well, we have quite a bit of work back home in the state of Arkansas, our home state, and then so we're going into our 9th year residency at a casino in Hot Springs, Arkansas during the thoroughbred horse racing season. So that's a big contract for us. Other than that, we have gone to Amsterdam, Norway, California. Of course, we come here every year. So the Caribbean for a month here every November. We go to Santa Barbara. There's a red piano in Santa Barbara, California, and then we. Actually, honestly, next year I think we'll end up doing a lot of festivals in the States as well as just around our tri-state area.
Yeah. So you have a very large set list, and I see that you have added some songs because I was at the Red Piano the other night, and you were playing some songs that I hadn't heard before. So how many songs about it do you do?
we counted over 2,000 songs that we can play. Some of those are with the aid of a device. You know, it's 2023, so you can have a device in front of you, and as long as it's discreet. Sometimes we just need the words on a few just to cue us. But Cliff's even better than I am at just knowing songs in his head, and he surprises me every night with a new song that he knows that we'll get a request for. So 2,000 was the last count, and that was a couple of years ago. I mean, well over 2,000 at this point. Yeah,
That's amazing. So now I notice when you play together, you can just give a glance and you know what the other person is thinking. How do you do that?
There's not much of an answer to that. As far as we've been playing together for a long time, and I think as musicians, you naturally have certain cues that you kind of know where someone's going when if you're following them through either a chord change or if you're like, I'm going to extend the chorus, we're going to do a thing here. But some of those glances that you'll see might not have to do with the music at all for us.
Now, didn't you just do a new album?
we did. We released. So we've been together for 7 years, and we've been writing music and producing. We have our own production company back home in Arkansas, and Cliff arranges and produces music. He's produced over 30 artists, and all along we had been writing our own music, and we had released a few songs, but we wanted to wait till we knew exactly who we were as an original duo. And country music is our genre. But I'm on the keys, he's on guitar and fiddle, and we wrote a bunch of songs, and we decided that October 27 of this year, it felt right to go ahead and claim, stamp the calendar with when we wanted to release 12 songs of the best that we had at this point. We felt were most representative of what we sound like when you come to see us live, as well as our music that's original. And we're really excited about the response. We charted. We got on the U.S. Apple Country Albums chart. We charted up to 39 within 24 hours. We didn't stay there long, but we didn't even expect. We got there. So that's been awesome, and people have been requesting our music. Fiddle Keys is the name of the album and the title track, and that's a big one for us, which we tell the story lyrically of how we met and what we were doing, and that's the song that got us on national TV this year. So
Lyrically, this is our story, what we were doing before we met each other and how we got together, and then of course we're gonna rock it like Jerry Lee Lewis meets Charlie Daniels right now.
All right.
Let's do it.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Baby, won't you play me just a little, please? You play the fiddle and I'll play the keys.
Thank you, James. I was never looking for the one. I was happy on my own. Playing piano when we had a gun. Getting ready for the show. When he walked in, I said, pull it out. Show me what everyone's been talking about. Baby, won't you play me just a little, please? You play the fiddle and I'll play the keys.
Y'all make some noise for Susan on the fiddle. Come on in. I was working at the drugstore during the week. They said, come and play this weekend down at Willie D's. It wasn't hot-looking mama who was rocking it right. She said, won't you play me just a little fiddle tonight? You can play it fast and you can play it slow. No matter what you do, just pick it up and go. She said, I'm gonna play something that'll bring you to your knees. I'll play the fiddle and you play the keys.
Y'all make some noise for Cliff on the fiddle, man.
So it's been really awesome to have, this career of playing music that everybody knows and loves, and all the cover songs that we do in every genre, and the piano bar, of course. But then when we release our music, for it to have been so well received and have people singing your songs back to you, that's such a really great feeling.
Yeah. And and you also opened for some big acts. You ZZ Top, right?
Yeah, ZZ Top was really cool. That was at the amphitheater in Little Rock, so that was a huge show. And
Now let's get back to your album. Now you produced the whole thing, didn't you?
I did, with the exception of 2 songs that she brought from a Nashville production. So
Before I met him.
yeah, so we thought those 2
Was
songs.
it Chalk Lines?
No.
No.
those were,
I like that song.
Maybe You Should and Ain't My Baby Grand. And they were 2 songs that I did after my album that you know about. Yeah. And I never really did much with them. And so we decided that I wanted to bring those over to this album. But the other 10 songs he produced.
Oh, okay. So now, what do you think about doing a Christmas album? Because there are some people that are doing Christmas albums lately. What do you think about that?
So Susan has done one Christmas song before. We would like to probably do a Christmas song, maybe a Christmas album if we can find the time to do all that. But I love Christmas music, so it'd be cool to do. We definitely need to do at least a song.
Right. So you were going to talk about how he produces. Cliff literally played, I would say, 90% of the song, of the music that you hear on the album. He played. He single track records, meaning he goes into our studio and he'll record the guitar first, then the drums, then the bass, then electric guitar, the final guitar, fiddle. He might put in other instruments. I'll put keys down, and then we do the vocals. And so it's like layer upon layer of a production. And he hears the arrangement in his head before he even starts, which is amazing to me. And so we're really proud that this album has done so well because we've done it ourselves. We didn't go to Nashville.
Everything.
Yeah. And so I'm super proud of Cliff because he has come so far in his production. And the sky's the limit with us because we can do it ourselves. When we get inspired, we can go into our studio at whatever hour of the day and really produce. So back to the Christmas thing, it takes a year in advance. So we need to be thinking about next Christmas if we're going to do an album of Christmas music.
Yeah. So that must be very exciting, though, because you have a studio right on the grounds of where you live, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't have any set time of when do you sometimes get inspiration and say, hey, let's go record something?
Right.
So now you also have almost a training or a club that people, you show them how to do what you do. Explain that to the people.
Sure. We have the Entertainers Academy, and I've always enjoyed working with other artists and helping other independent artists figure out how to have a lucrative music career. And after 20 years, School of Hard Knocks, the ups and downs and everything in between, it's been a lot of learning on my end, and I just love to share. I love to help others. And so and I've done that for years now, but we went ahead and formalized that in the Entertainers Academy. So Cliff and I co-founded the Entertainers Academy, which is a comprehensive look at the music industry as it is today. Everything from marketing to really the flagship product, I would say, that really sets us apart as entertainers. Our show is very key and centric to our revenue, to our business, to everything, like as our product and who we are. Even in our original music, like that really helped us. We wrote so that we could perform live well and really give that high energy show. So we teach that, of course. And there's science behind all of that. So we teach it all, and it's been very awesome. We have over 100 students in there now.
Do you do that virtually?
We do. It's a virtual program. So you can go to entertainersacademy.com and find all that there.
So now tell everybody something about your instruments, because you have the fiddle, the guitar, many of them. Tell everybody about your instruments.
Well, there are many. So I can't remember. Maybe we've counted maybe 10 or 11 instruments that I play. I've actually recently tried picking up harmonica. I'm doing all right with it, but a little bit more practicing. I played drums. I started on drums when I was young, about 5, and picked up fiddle next at about 10. I took a few years of lessons on that. That's the only thing I've had lessons on. Then guitar, bass, dobro, banjo, mandolin, piano. Yeah,
Are you giving him piano lessons?
He played the other night here.
Yeah, I did.
Really?
I played for a little bit. I dink around in my spare time, I guess. I don't know.
Well, the audience just really loves you so much. They get up and they start dancing. And, I had passed by before you arrived, and there weren't many people there. And I came back like 5 minutes after you had started, and the whole place was jumping. I mean, you attract a crowd. They knew you were coming. They knew you would be there. So how do you feel when people get up and they start dancing? Because you do ask for the requests. Mm-hmm. They fill out their form, and you wave and you say, hi, there's somebody actually from Arkansas. How you doing? Yeah. How do you feel when they finally get up and they start dancing and they react?
I feel like my job is being accomplished. I mean, that's really the name of the game, is to provide a roller coaster, a journey of fun throughout the night. And when you walk into a room that's cold and they're ready to figure out who you are and what you sound like, and so your job then is just to make them feel comfortable and at ease and to start requesting songs. And then as we start playing the music, then once they start dancing and singing along, then we know we've got them to a point where we can continue that journey. And it's a 4-hour show, so when they start dancing, it's honestly, it's once they start doing that, it's easy from there because we know we've got them. It's just got to keep them going, keep the songs on. We know what songs work naturally, and then of course we work in the requests.
Yeah. So now Susan had mentioned something earlier about Nashville. How important is it for you to be in touch with Nashville?
Well, we do have a lot of friends in Nashville, and a lot of people like to check the box of Nashville when they go to record. But mainly Nashville, it's really about the connections that you have and the people that you meet when you're there, and that's why they say an overnight success is 20 years in the making, because it's really a lot of connections and always bumping elbows and making the right moves in your career to meet the right people and at the right time. You never know who you're going to meet. Sometimes it happens faster for some people, but we definitely need to get to Nashville more. We've obviously done all of our production ourselves at our home studio, so we didn't do it in Nashville, but we also feel like we're so proud of what we have done that I think it speaks a lot to what we've been able to accomplish without having to go to Nashville to do it. And we even have some friends, not necessarily in Nashville, but that have made that circuit there, that I've sent over our tracks, and they're like, this sounds great production. And so that's really, we hope to eventually get more out to Nashville. We have some friends there that we're actually going to do a project with soon that's played the Grand Ole Opry 25 plus times, and so we definitely want to get out that way more.
Yeah. Is it possible to get on mainstream radio? I mean, radio has changed so much from the 60s and the 70s. Is that a goal?
Absolutely, and I think we all consume music differently now in the music industry. We don't like years ago, and I'll be 44 next month. So thank you. I remember walking into Walmart and buying a CD or a record, and like the way we used to buy music and the way that all of the big labels funded their business models was that you had to buy an entire album. Now it's streaming.
That's right.
And you get paid literally percentage of a penny for every stream, and so it's turned the industry on upside down, but it's really allowed for independent artists to be more in control of their career. So while we don't need a label, it is important to still kind of strive to either act as your own label and be of that caliber and get ready for maybe a label deal. And so back to your question, the streaming, you want to have enough streaming success out there that you're getting some revenue and getting some notoriety, because everybody lives on digital space now. But then radio is another animal in itself, and that's still very hard to penetrate, to get on to actual radio play. I think just as important is getting on some of like Sirius XM, some of the very prestigious channels, and being very present on the streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple Music. And when you start charting up there, you can do that and have some more control of the ability for you to get to those numbers. But labels really come into play, I think, more when it comes to radio, and that's still kind of the case. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, for sure. And I think this is definitely the time for independent musicians to maybe make it to commercial radio that wouldn't have otherwise. I think the Zach Bryan, the Warren Ziders, even Tyler Childers, Sturgill Simpson in the country market where we play a lot. They do have labels, but I don't think without Spotify and people recognizing sharing their music, I don't think they would have made it as big without Spotify. And because you can get on a playlist as kind of a nobody sometimes and just shoot up, and then a label's like, who's this guy? Let's get him. And so sometimes that's why we really strive to have that connection with our fans, because they love you, they share you. Yeah, they share your stuff, and we always strive to have that connection, because that might be the key to getting us to that.
It only
that
takes
level.
one person, only one right person to really get to where you might want to go. So if people want to hear your music, how do they do it? let's say, especially if you're an older person, you're not too techie, but you say, gee, I saw them in St. Martin. They were so good. I want to hear their album. How would they do it?
Well, if you're not techie, I think most everyone now at some point knows how to.
They have a relative, at least, that's techie.
Somebody can go on a device. You can find us on Spotify, on Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube. You can go anywhere and type
just
in
put your name
Cliff and Susan. Type in Cliff and Susan, and then you'll find it. Now, you can go to our website, cliffandsusan.live, and order our album on vinyl or CD now. And
really?
Yes.
Vinyl's big again.
Yes. So we just now launched that, and we're really excited. Those orders will start shipping in this December of 2023. And we've got so many awesome packages from CDs to vinyl to T-shirts. I have watercolors. I don't know if you remember me. I'm a painter.
I know.
So I've got some really exciting new paintings. And
You
so
also did a scent. Perfume.
Yes, we did a fragrance, a custom fragrance here on the island. Tijan is a French Caribbean company here where we went and made it's called Duo, and then we've got a couple of
That's
fragrances.
so appropriate, the name Duo, right?
Yeah. It's Duo, and it's unisex. So either a sex can wear that one. That's why we made it. We thought it was kind of cool to be able to.
It is really cool. It smells completely different on me than it does on her. So it's pretty cool.
Reacts to your own body chemistry.
For sure.
Yeah. So tell everybody a little bit about your artwork, because you were able to create art and then ship it to people, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So my first album, I did 12 songs in Nashville, and I decided that I wanted to, as a solo artist, didn't even know I was going to even ever meet Cliff. And so I had aspirations to produce my own music and write. And so I moved to Nashville, for a short time. I lived there. And I co-wrote 12 songs, released an album, but the way I funded it was through my watercolor paintings. And so everyone would order my paintings, commission me to do them, and then I sold over 300 paintings to get my first album launched. Wow. So in that same, and I love to paint, but I will be honest, it became work when people were ordering. So I had to find a balance for what I enjoyed painting versus what I felt like I had to paint to get the, so that was an interesting balance for me to have to find as an artist. But I'm back to where I'm starting just to paint what I enjoy, and then if people like it, they can buy the original, or I do signed prints, and you can blow them up to any size. Watercolor travels well, so I'm able to bring my watercolors here. I just felt like I have a huge easel with a bunch of canvas. Small watercolor pad with the little things of watercolors in it. It works well for our schedule and our touring. So
yeah. And how do you like playing in St. Martin?
It is awesome. We've definitely built a family, and we always love coming down here. It's kind of a reset for us. We spend a lot of time home now after COVID. We used to travel a lot more, and we don't travel as much anymore. We do have 3 little dogs that keep us home.
Yes.
Yeah, those are our children basically, and so we do love being home, but we have 2 contracts in July in Santa Barbara with the Red Piano, and so it's kind of like from that July all the way to November, we're ready to kind of take another trip. And she said before, she needs the Caribbean sun.
Yeah,
It's
definitely need it.
Yeah.
It's definitely a feeling that we both need, and a little bit of a reset for us.
You have some electronics hooked up to the piano when you play it. So how does that work? Because you're very quick. When somebody gives a request, it has to be like this. And I see you pressing some buttons and flipping some things just like that. What is that?
Well, I like to say that is a smart move from a business sense, and then it's also a great move for our show. So Cliff and I are a duo. Of course, now we're married, so all the income comes into one household, right? But we're a small configuration, 2 players, so we sound like a full band with the use of a drum machine. And the way that I play my left hand, and what you don't see here, but even back home, I have a stacked left hand where my left hand sounds like a bass player, like a bass guitar, and then my right hand's doing the normal key rhythm and sometimes lead with keys. And so 2 vocals, a bass guitar sound with my left hand, piano on my right, the drummer in the box. It's a Alesis SR18. In fact, people can find my tutorial on the Alesis SR18 on YouTube. And then Cliff on guitar, and then vocals. And so it's a great way to sound big. We opened this way for ZZ Top. They were like, yes, that's what they wanted, an acoustic duo, and we got approval. And I'm like, if you can open for ZZ Top with the configuration using that piece of of equipment, then I feel like most musicians should go, okay, well, that's pretty credible, you know. So it's a great tool for especially piano players to keep the energy, to have that percussive sound. It sounds like you've got a drummer, but you don't have the ticket of a drummer on an airplane.
Yeah.
It shows up on time and does what I say, even if I'm wrong.
But now also, speaking of energy, you sometimes have a lot of energy. You get up on the piano and play that fiddle. So how do you manage that?
I just try to keep up with her, basically. She's like, look, I'm stuck back here on the piano. If I could just run around with my piano, I would do it. So I can't do that, so you're going to have to do it with your fiddle.
When the devil finished, Johnny said, well, you're pretty good, old son. Sit down in that chair up there, let me show you how it's done. Sing fire when I run motor. The devil in the house of riding sun. Chicken and red pig picking out love. He raided it up by no shout. Y'all make some noise for Cliff up there on that.
You also play the piano, but it's like a guitar. It's
Yeah.
slung over your shoulder, and you play that keyboard. What is that?
It's called a keytar. So like keyboard and guitar merged together in one word. It's a keytar, and you wear it like you said. It's a keyboard. You're wearing like a guitar, and there's certain songs that really go well for that, like Jump Van Halen. I do some Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams, very synthy songs that so the synth patch, and so that's a fun visual. And yes, I can run around with that.
We're out of time, and it's been wonderful seeing you two. And maybe you want to shout out where people can hear your music again, your website. If you go to Stage Screen and In Between with Helen on Facebook, you can find out when the broadcast will be. I also put the shows up on YouTube, so you can always see the shows. Okay?
Sure.
So go ahead.
Shout out to you. I say thank you. You have been so fantastic.
I love you guys.
Well, I mean, it's been awesome to have your support, and it's journalists and media people like you who help us get the word out. So thank you. Shout out to you, first of all. And then anyone that we've met across, the travels that we've had, we're just blessed to have met you guys and have your support. So those are the shout outs I want to give first and foremost. And then secondly, just anybody that might have happened on this, we would love to connect with you on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram. Just go Cliff and Susan, TikTok, we're everywhere. You can send us a DM, say you saw us with Helen today, and we can chat it up and maybe hopefully share some music around a piano one day.
That's terrific. Thank you so much. Love you guys, and continued success.
Thank you. Thank you.